Good afternoon, Real Life Radio listeners. This is Jennifer with your Community Connection Corner here on your Catholic station, Real Life Radio 1380 and 94.9 FM. Joined today by Jennifer Arena and Samantha Rodarte of Faith Feeds. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Faith Feeds Kentucky Gleans is the full title, right?
GLEAN Kentucky.
GLEAN Kentucky. I got it backwards, but
a lot
that's
of people
okay.
do that, but that's okay.
So, Faith Feeds GLEAN Kentucky. Mm-hmm. And what is gleaning?
Gleaning is collecting the remains of crops, the remains or the excess. And our volunteers go all over the place hunting down fresh produce that is going to be wasted because it's excess, it didn't get sold. And they collect it and they take it to a distribution point so we can get it to people in need.
So gleaning is basically just going and finding the leftovers, if you will?
Yeah, the excess. Gleaning the remains of the crops. Gleaning.
Because we see gleaning in the Bible.
Yes. And they said don't glean everything. Leave some for the poor, the passerbys, the travelers, and the people that need it, like on the edges of your crops. So gleaning is we go and get all those edges and make sure it gets to people.
And our current Pope, Pope Francis, has made it a point to say, don't waste food and be responsible. So I'm like, well, you guys are doing that. You're actually putting it into action.
Yeah, 52% of produce grown in America is never eaten.
Wow.
And it's wasted at many different steps, from in the field to through processing, through in the homes.
I was going to say in my refrigerator.
Yeah, I mean, and that accounts for everything. But with fresh produce, it doesn't have a 2-year shelf life.
Right.
It might have a 2-day shelf life, and so it has to, it has to move. It has to go somewhere, and there's a lot of food that's excess that what we get is fine. It's edible. It's not rotten. It's not.
Might not be the prettiest.
And there might be some ugliness to it because ugly doesn't sell as well in the stores. But from the fields, it might just be the crop was great this year and I can't sell it all, and or it's time for me to move on to the next crop. So even though I have some left, it doesn't pay me to go harvest every single thing to get it. It's more costly for me to just pull it all out, put the next crop in, and move on. So if we could get there, we had a request from a farm just this week that says we have leftovers, and if you can come get them, you can have them. So we want to take some volunteers to the farm and harvest the remains of the crops.
So you're connecting directly with farmers, and I believe you said to me once stores and farmers markets and what? So where are you gleaning from, or where are you finding this food?
Costco, Whole Foods, Good Foods. So we got grocery stores, Papania's wholesale produce, the farmers markets, Lexington and Bluegrass, Reed Valley Orchard. We've gleaned from Evans Orchard. We've had calls this year to say I have part of an orchard in my backyard that I obviously can't eat the apples from 30 trees. So usually they go to waste. So we're going to work on getting some volunteers out to harvest from people's backyards. And we've done that with pears, with grapes, some community gardens that are got abandoned. So if anybody knows of a community garden that's nobody's taking care of this anymore, I'm going to call the gleaners and let's get it. Let's go harvest it before it all goes to waste.
Yeah. And Samantha, you're one of these volunteers she keeps speaking of. So what's your role?
Well, I actually volunteer with. What happened was Jennifer this is on another note, she had approached myself and Pastor Matthew Cole with Lexington Calvary Church of the Nazarene about starting up a spot in the Cardinal Valley area. And we thought it was an amazing idea, and we know that a lot of our families suffer with a lack of the ability to purchase foods like this.
Yeah, because it's expensive.
Exactly. So that's how I actually got involved, and I volunteer. We have our distribution is every Monday, and that's what I do. At this point, although I'm edging my way over, I want to help glean from other places for Jennifer.
So you're the connecting, the distribution point. So Jennifer's been talking about how we glean it, and then the food gets to a place like yours, Samantha, and you help distribute it to those in need.
Exactly.
So how many of these distribution points do you have around?
We're a very, very small organization. So we coordinate the gleaning, but we chose to partner with everybody else working with a low-income target population to save resources, because we, instead of why do everything, because that would take even more resources. So we have distributed through over 50 different partners in the community.
That's quite a few. You say you're a small organization, but 50, that sounds pretty daunting.
That means that we're getting a lot of food.
True.
Yeah, over 65,000 pounds so far this year, and last year was over 143,000, and we'll probably top out well over 200,000 this year.
That's a lot of food.
That's a lot of food. So it can go to a lot of places. So what we did is we said we are not distributing anything in the Cardinal Valley area, and it took quite a while to connect with somebody who would be willing to take that on. And Councilwoman Peggy Henson helped me. I said, who do you know in these areas that might, churches or community centers or any kind of groups that would take this on? So she started introducing me to people, and that's how I met people from the elementary school there and Matthew Cole from the church. And so he started he was like, this is a great idea. So it took probably about 3 months for him to, talk to people in his church, gather enough commitments from volunteers to run a pantry, basically, or run a distribution point. And then we started back in January and partnered. We took a day from Costco and matched it up with that distribution site.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll always have some amount of food. That might be 100 pounds, it might be 500 pounds. There is a range of it. So during the growing season, we're trying to supplement that by trying to match up, when we find other produce, to get them some supplemental stuff through the growing season. So it was really exciting because it brings so much more, to there, not just, let's just go here for a couple hours and just hand out food. And
right.
It has grown considerably. So they're serving, Matthew Cole tells me that they're averaging 35 families a week. They've served over 200 unique families in this process, with over 600 portions given. So that's shows that they kind of hit the ground running. I mean, it didn't take long to get up to 35, 45 families coming a week. The families were identified by Samantha and the family resource person at the school.
Okay.
So that's how we targeted the people, to let them know that this was happening.
So you reached out to those individual families.
Yes.
Got them brochures, instructed them on where to go and where to be if they were interested.
And being in the school, being in Cardinal Valley, it's obvious, through the Family Resource Center, who's on free and reduced lunch, to really target those families. Yeah. It's not such a mystery in that situation. So then you just got them the information. If they came, they came. Or do other people know about this? Is this open to the community if someone else were interested, or how can
it's open to the entire community? But that's where we started, was in the school, because we have a large population of families on free and reduced lunch.
Right.
But then after that, we also have a lot of elderly people that also need the help, that can't get out. So one thing that we've done is we've gone door to door a couple times in areas that we know that people need it. And then there's a few of us who actually will deliver to those people who can't make it to the distribution site. So it's been amazing. It really has.
Yeah. To see that the people do you see like a transformation when they come in? Because it's a human dignity issue that
most
here
definitely.
You are. You actually get to eat well, not just processed whatever. It's
funny because I think back on the first time that we did it, and everyone, even the volunteers, everyone was so uncertain of what to do. And the families, you can see when people are extremely tense, and you could see that in them. And now it's almost like, you know, a family's being reunited every single week.
Oh, wow.
And everybody's so happy.
Yeah.
And it's made a big difference in our area.
And you can't, you know, when you're in that situation, anything fresh produce is a big change. I mean, being one who used to always eat canned and trying to do the more fresh thing more recently in my own family, it's a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
And even going, well, you know, I'm eating well, and that just gives you, I don't know, a good feeling or something. In addition to really physically being good for you.
Exactly.
You know?
It does.
Just kind of is uplifting to be able to eat that. And, of course, it's all locally grown, which we know is good for you as well.
And besides the fact of it being good for you, we've had families come in and even make comments about, I didn't have to make a choice on paying my light bill. I didn't have to make a choice on paying my, you know, phone or my gas. It's made a big difference in people's lives. And I think if anyone could ever get how important what Jennifer and her people do, it's that. It's not only providing something healthy for their bodies, but it's easing stresses. It's easing the ache of their heart. I mean, it's something extremely important.
Mm-hmm. Well, when we come back from the break, we'll talk a little bit more about Faith Feeds GLEAN Kentucky and how folks can get involved. This is your Community Connection Corner here on your Catholic station, Real Life Radio 1380 and 94.9 FM, WMJR, Nicholasville, Lexington.